will do.
Sir, how may I help you?
Right, how you doing?
Okay, Miss Steele, tell me what happened.
I read his note and somehow remembered our robbery training. I said in my mind, stay calm, be safe. So after I read the note, I took the backpack and opened the cash drawer. It was a small black backpack, like one for a young child. While gathering the cash, I pushed the alarm because I noticed he was looking around nervously and not paying complete attention to me. I guess it seemed safe to push the alarm. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think I could without him seeing. In our training, we were told not to do anything to threaten the robber or tip him off about activating an alarm. Keep your hands visible to the robber, they taught us. So I did all this, and I tried to keep my movement natural. I knew better than to stare at him, but I was able to make a mental note of what he looked like. I gathered the cash and stuffed it into the backpack. I handed the backpack to him. He took it pretty calmly. That's when he put his paper bag inside the backpack and started to leave, but he stepped back to grab the robbery note. I wish I had the chance to cover it or knock it onto the floor on my side of the counter. I didn't have the chance. So then he left the office. I don't think I said a word during the whole thing. In training, we were taught not to speak unless we have to respond to the robber's questions. He never spoke either. It just happened so fast. After taking a couple of deep breaths, I made sure to secure the counter in case he left any fingerprints. Then I activated the locks and walked over to the manager to tell her that I'd just been robbed. At that point, I guess it hit me what just happened, and I kind of felt sick, and I was shaking. The manager put the temporary closed sign on the door and asked someone to stand by it and wait for the police. Then she explained to everyone that a robbery had just occurred and for them not to talk about it and not to touch anything. She said that everyone would be given forms to fill out that would help the police. We all got the robbery forms and filled them out, and then you and the other officers arrived.
You did everything right. The thing people in your line of work should know is that it's all about safely getting the robber out of the building. First, you stayed calm. Panic can also panic the robber, with dangerous results. No sudden moves, and you kept your hands visible as much as possible. Then you did exactly what the robber instructed you to do. It was clear in the note. You didn't question it. You didn't say anything out loud to him or the employees around you. And you didn't stare at him. You did just as he asked. You were able to safely activate the duress alarm in this case. Sometimes it's not safe to do that. If you had felt there was any risk in him seeing you push the button, it would not have been worth taking that chance. Again, you got the robber out of the building as quickly as possible. The longer a robber hangs around, the greater the danger. Finally, everyone quickly got to work writing up the suspect identification and narrative incident forms. On the suspect identification form, you described the suspect physically and his clothing, the items he used, and even noted a few details that could help us identify him. Your write-up about the incident included lots of details about what happened from start to finish. It was great that you noticed some things he might have touched.
I would have never thought that someone would rob us here.
I'm just so proud of the way everyone reacted to such a scary experience. And it sure is better this way than what you see on TV.
Yeah, you mean a takeover robbery. Now those are much more dangerous. It's when one or more guys come in with guns showing. But you know the response is still the same. Stay calm and do exactly as the robber says. And it's even more important to get them out of the building fast. No confrontations, no delays, and no heroics. You know, I do have a few tips about robbery prevention during business hours. Be on alert if a customer sticks around an unusually long amount of time without conducting a transaction. Pay attention to the customer who acts suspiciously, carries a bag or container, or is dressed unusually for the weather conditions. An example would be a customer wearing a heavy coat on a hot day. In any case, when you feel a risk for a robbery, contact security or the police without alerting the suspicious customer. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do to prevent robberies in cases where the robber enters the office as a customer would during business hours. But there are ways to reduce the risk of robberies at other times. One potentially vulnerable time is when you arrive at work in the morning. Before walking to the door, look around for anything or anyone suspicious. If you're concerned about your safety, do not unlock the door and go inside. Contact the security department or police. The same idea applies at the close of business. Before unlocking the door to leave, look around outside through the window first. If a suspicious car is parked near the door or someone is loitering nearby, wait for a while before leaving. If the situation doesn't change, contact security department or the police. Use this caution about your surroundings when removing payments from drop boxes. And proper procedures should be followed for pickup and delivery of bank deposits. Drive-through facilities are the safest to use. Also, check the identification of vendors before giving them access to secure areas in the office. I'm sure your training covered things like not dealing with large amounts of cash in view of customers, not leaving cash drawers open and unattended, and keeping bank deposits out of sight of customers as much as possible. And remember, in the case of a robbery, no confrontations, no delays, no heroics. Don't be a hero. So how would you react to a robbery? Your safest bet is to handle a robbery like a routine transaction. Be calm and take care of business quickly. Think safety first. That means no confrontations and no heroics. Activate the panic button only if you are sure it is safe to do so. Give the money to the robber quickly and neatly. Get a physical description of the robber. Preserve evidence, including a note, something the robber touched, or anything he leaves behind. After the incident, remember to observe the escape, then lock the door. Hang a temporary closure sign on the door. Notify the police and Mississippi Power's security department about the robbery. Post an employee at the door to watch for the police. List all witnesses and customers for the police. Distribute incident forms to everyone and have them complete the forms while the incident is still fresh in their minds. Tell them not to discuss what happened. Wait for the police to arrive, and they'll take it from there. And remember, in the case of a robbery, no confrontations, no delays, no heroics. Don't be a hero.